Greetings, friends. I want to tell you some personal thoughts on the world and on the very nature of existence itself. Why, you might ask? Well, when you're an immortal being who's seen empires come and go, when you've taken the souls of both kings and peasants, both wicked and good, you frankly get tired of the same questions being asked over and over again. Now, I will not degrade your intelligence by repeating those questions, but I feel I may as well show you just a little bit of what's behind the veil. To start off with, no, I do not know who or what created me. As far as I know, I just came to be. I have no memory of a birth or a glorious light. I just came to with a knowledge of my purpose. Oh yes, my purpose. Well, my little ones, it is not as simple as it may seem. I'm not just simply the vehicle upon which souls are taken. No, I'm also the caretaker of those souls. I do not judge, for that's another's job, nor do I care for the souls and try to give them some sense of fulfillment. I cannot say I'm emotional, but I do have an understanding of your nature, and it is that nature to which I truly wish to speak today. As much as I would love to share some stories about my experience, I feel that's for another time. For now, my focus must be on your own nature and the essence of what you are. Your great philosophers and thinkers have long debated the very reason for your purpose here. Is there some bigger meaning to it all? Or are you just meant to live and die, to be forgotten like dust notes in a windstorm? Well, it's both yes and no. I know that sounds overly simplistic, but please let me explain. You exist on a planet that has seen the souls of billions, that is awash with blood and whose very foundations are built on a mound of bones. Every action you decide to take has been copied, or will be. Every turn in the path that you see as new and glorious is in fact another beat-down patch of brush that has been trodden before. So, how can one mortal hope to be significant? How can one of you hope to be different from all the other ants in the mound? To be honest, you cannot. You are worthless when looking at the herd. Your great accomplishments are but momentary glimpses of light in the darkness. If you wish to find some semblance of meaning in this uncaring universe, you must not hope to ever achieve anything in the annals of history. No, you must descend into yourself, into the madness that lurks there. Yes, you heard me correctly, to the madness inside of you. Why? Because in each person's madness there is a freedom, a uniqueness born out of pain and insanity. To take your most forbidden desires and set them free is where your true value lies. I once took the soul of Nero, the Roman emperor, and I must say that his madness and embracing of it was one of the most refreshing things I'd seen in centuries. He understood the truth I wish to impart to you, my guests. To be free from the inevitable forgetfulness of history, you must be willing to embrace the madness. But what about evil, you say? What about morality and the goodness that is so wrapped up in our human condition? Well, it's all an illusion. A fairy tale told by trembling men to comfort themselves on long winter's nights while they huddled around their fires. To assume that pity, charity, and empathy are natural parts of you is to spit in the face of the universe. Do the few acts of benevolent rulers throughout history cover up the acts of evil? No. I dare say they are but specks of starlight in a dark universe. They're not to be counted as anything more than selfish acts done to make themselves look good. Whenever you humans have been given the chance between an act of good or evil, your first reaction is always to go with evil. What about the tender mercies of a mother with her children? Or the very innocence of children themselves? More hollow and false images. Your mothers choose to be loving towards you out of a selfish desire to appease themselves and prove they are good. They can no more control their selfish whims as I can control when it might rain. Children are not immune from wickedness either. Have you seen the evils children are capable of? Have you seen how quickly they embrace cruelty towards others than themselves? You may try to argue that it's a learned behavior developed by a decadent and fallen society, but you would be wrong. How can a child be programmed at the ages of 2 or 3 to perform acts of violence? I'd say that denying the true nature of yourselves is actually crueler than that of the child. How might that be, you ask? Well, to explain, I'll first have to give you a very simple thought experiment. You have 2 choices. You can either be the hostage on their knees with the gun to their head, or you can be the person holding the gun. If you answered you'd rather be the hostage, you're deluding yourself and hiding it from no one. Truly, your nature is to be cruel, and that is not wrong. In fact, I would say that it is the most pure form of life you can live. To explain further, why would you be ashamed of your cruelty? Your history is proof that it's the most evil and cruel who always rise to the top. Your greatest leaders, those you hold up and emulate, are some of the cruelest people to have ever existed. Julius Caesar is one example. Today he's thought of as this great military and political leader, a populist and a man who embraced all of the noble virtues you aspire to. But he was also a mass murderer who killed untold numbers of men, women, and children. A man who had no thoughts about anything other than his own ambition. Yet today he's held up as the paragon of virtue. How can that be? How does your very nature not scream cruelty when it exalts the very blood-soaked figure of it? His throne was not made of gold. It was made out of the dead he'd slaughtered. In a broader perspective, I conclude that that is true of all your venerated heroes. All are covered in blood and have walked their paths to fame over the still warm bodies of dead women and children. Oh, but that was in the past. We are more sophisticated now, would be your response. But you are not. Look at the world as it sits now. Has the evil ever changed? Oh, sure, you try to do your best to polish it up and, of course, to appear noble, but it changes nothing. You still enjoy blood and violence. You still wish to be there when they cut off the head of the criminal. You refuse to acknowledge the true evil around you while still playing into the macabre. Do you really think your lust for death is any less than before? Do you think that just because you put it on a screen or go to a sporting event that the need for blood is somehow lessened? You've not changed. It's only the means by which you consume it that has. And even then, look at the chaos around you. Every day people are killed in barbaric ways. Every day people go missing, snatched up by sadists and worse. You pretend as if this is somehow the fault of just the people committing those acts. You may say you feel for them, but in your heart you're secretly glad it was not you that it happened to. You may go out and help search, or act all pithy in front of your friends and family, but in your heart you're glad you get to go home safe that night. Don't try to deny it. I know the hearts of mortals, and they are more evil than many of the denizens I deal with regularly. For at least the deities know what they are. They don't fight against their very core existence. Don't let this... come on. Do not let this sadden you, though. No. Celebrate it. Go out and engage in your barbarity. Feel the joy of plunging a knife into the ones you purport to love. Let their screams fill you with ecstasy, and their tears to fill the hole in your hollow hearts. Do not be dismayed by the laws of your kind, for those laws were also written by humans who engage in cruelty. So, go out and fulfill those most deliciously macabre desires. Free the monsters that you hide under a cloak of civility. Your nature is to butcher, to rape, and to torture. Tie someone up and slowly sever each limb while they are alive, and tell me it doesn't give you a sense of power. Skin them alive and eat their flesh right in front of them, and tell me you don't feel superior. Take what you want because you want it. There doesn't have to be a logical reason. Nay, your very soul screams out to be anathema of logic and reason. It wants to act on its lusts. So, why not allow that? Why play the game of morality? Why burden yourself down with all these thoughts of culture and society? Tear them all down brick by brick and rebuild them on pillars of bone and chains of hate. Consume the fire in your hearts and unleash the inferno on this planet. To exist in this way is to embrace freedom. It is to embrace the very essence of the universe. Nothing ever happens without blood being the price. Everything great is built upon a foundation of the damned. Pitiful and worthless screams of those who are too weak to seize the moment will be your soothing music. You mustn't be afraid of your demons, because they're not here to hurt you. No. On the contrary, they're here to help you, to be your guide to throwing off the shackles of your mortal existence. How can your very soul be wrong? If it's screaming for cruelty and for the feeling of blood sating your thirst, then how can it be wrong? It was here before you were. It'll be here long after you're gone. To try and twist it into something it is not will leave you in a state of perpetual confusion. My dear friends, you must embrace what you are, not what you pretend to be. Throw off the cloak of morality and jump into the abyss of insanity. I say this not wanting you to be hurt, but to let yourselves be truly happy. Until next time, my dear mortal. Thanks for taking the time to drop by and watch this video. You know what would make me a happy doctor? Hitting that like button, leaving a comment, and subscribing to my channel. Go on, I've got plenty more stories to tell you.